Donald Trump told voters in 2016 that he was so wealthy he didn't need their money if he became president.
The first thing I'm going to do is tell you that if I'm elected president, I'm accepting no salary, okay? That's not a big deal for me.
That pledge came early on in the Republican primary, and it was part of Trump's populist appeal. But there was one problem, a big one: the U.S. Constitution. I'm Katie Sanders with PolitiFact, where we are tracking the state of President Trump's 2016 campaign promises as he runs for re-election. So Article 2 of the Constitution requires the president be paid. A few days after President Trump's election victory over Hillary Clinton, he affirmed that the take no salary pledge was for real, but he tweaked it, thereby avoiding a crisis with the Constitution.
I think I have to, by law, take $1, so I'll take $1 a year, but I don't even know what it is. Do you know what the salary is?
$400,000. You're giving up.
I'm not going to take the salary. I'm not taking it.
Trump's promise to take no salary is one of the most widely read promises that we monitor. And we can report Trump kept his word. Now, Trump was not the first U.S. president to say no thank you to his paycheck. George Washington initially tried to refuse his $25,000 salary, but Congress refused to go along with it. They said the president needed to be paid to avoid bribery from outside interests. More recently, John F. Kennedy and Herbert Hoover donated their salaries to charity. Trump was able to keep his promise through a similar pattern: accept the money, but donate it right away to a federal government program. The news of which government agency would receive a quarter of Trump's annual salary became a recurring bit at White House press briefings, with giant checks and smiling agency leaders on hand to accept them. This was the scene at the April 3rd, 2017 briefing where Press Secretary Sean Spicer announced the National Park Service as the first ever recipient to receive a portion of Trump's salary. Then Interior Department Secretary Ryan Zinke went on to explain how the department would actually use the money, which worked out to be $78,000 because that first quarter was a little shorter.
He has decided, as you know, to donate his entire quarter salary, and we're going to dedicate it and put it against the infrastructure on our nation's battlefields.
That was good enough to set the promise into motion, so we rated it in the works. But over the years, we wanted to see if it stuck. It did. The next quarter's $100,000 salary went to the Education Department. Secretary Betsy DeVos said it would go toward a camp for students who are interested in science, technology, engineering, and math. As his presidency wore on, Trump donated his money to other parts of the government. The Health and Human Services Department received money for a public awareness campaign about the dangers of opioid addiction. The Department of Transportation received a big check for infrastructure projects, and the Small Business Administration received $100,000 for a program that was aimed at getting veterans into entrepreneurship. Sometimes it was personal. Trump donated his third quarter salary for 2018 to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. This was significant because Trump's older brother Fred Jr. died after struggling from alcoholism in 1981. Trump seems happy with his choice. After donating money to the U.S. Surgeon General's office, he tweeted, "I donate 100% of my president's salary, $400,000, back to our country and feel very good about it." And in January 2020, he donated his salary again to Health and Human Services, this time to help efforts against the coronavirus. Now there's another side to this salary story. One, Trump has proposed at times larger funding cuts to the agencies that receive some of his salary. Two, Trump's businesses, like his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida and Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C., have benefited far more than $400,000 a year from his presidency. Three, despite saving on Trump's salary, the Trump White House is still spending more on salaries overall. According to NPR, the total staff spending at the White House in 2019 was $41.3 million. That's compared with $39.8 million in the final year of the Obama White House. And this is despite Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, two of Trump's closest advisors, continuing to work for the White House without taking a salary. But on this promise, Trump kept his word. So we rate it promise kept. You can find all of our coverage of the Trump-o-meter at our website, PolitiFact.com. And while you're there, sign up for our newsletter and subscribe to this channel so you can see more videos like this.